Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I thought that I would give you some quick thoughts on the stock market in terms of what's going on right now. Some things that you may want to pay attention to, things you may want to observe as I've been kind of hanging out and doing my research on the market and what's going on right now. First of all, I want to say hello to everybody, and I want to remind you guys that on the Black Financial Channel and drboycetv.com, we talk about everything that relates to the Black community, particularly Black economics in all related areas. And we live under the B1 philosophy. B1 means that we are Black first. Black first means that we put our community at the top of our priority list. We must solve our own problems because nobody else will. B1 also means that we believe B1 children, our children, are going to be leaders in the world when it comes to economics, wealth building, real estate, and all things related to money by the year 2070. That's called Project 2070. We've been doing this for several years now, and it's already working. You're already seeing the early stage results of the 50-year plan. B1 also means that we understand we must be one to be successful. That's why we believe in being intentional about forming healthy relationships with other healthy minded Black people so that we can actually build institutions and build empires. If you agree with this philosophy, put a hashtag B in the number one in the chat, hashtag B1. And some of you, I'm trying out Zoom. I'm on a little bit of a delay, but I can see you, Arturio and Ruby Johnson and Tammy McClure and Jessica Thompson and Sean. I see you. I see you. I see you. So hit the thumbs up button. Please hit that thumbs up button right now because we're building Black media. So when you subscribe and when you hit the notification bell, that really helps our platform grow. So could you please make sure you do that? That's very, very important. All right, now let's get it cracking here. Now let's see. I see Ty is asking a question about the Tulsa Real Estate Fund that Jay Morrison runs. I'm an investor in the Tulsa Fund. You mentioned some things about it. I encourage you to go do your research on it because I really want to make sure that whatever people are talking about is not just rumors and innuendo. I know that there are people out here that hate Black-owned businesses. They want to see every Black investor fail. They think any Black person making money must be a bad person. But as I addressed that in the beginning, I want to make it 100% clear that all you can say is what's the proof, right? So with the Tulsa Fund with Jay Morrison, let me tell you a little bit about Jay Morrison. Jay is a friend of mine, and I know Jay, and I looked into the Tulsa Fund. I'm an investor. I put $10,000 into the Tulsa Fund. I'm very glad that I put that money in there and I didn't do it because I was trying to make a fast buck. I did it because I wanted to be part of something that was spectacular. So with Jay Morrison and the Tulsa Fund, let me just give you a quick statement on that. I have gone down to Atlanta and I've seen the Black House. If you've never seen the Black House, then you should really go visit. It is a beautiful structure that he built. It's one of the best spaces that we have as Black people. Most people that might criticize the Tulsa Fund, I can't find a building that they built for the community or real estate that they own for that Black people are able to use. I'm not saying that these people are bad people or that they're wrong. I'm just saying that I went to the Black House and I loved it. I'm going to hold events there. We're going to shoot films there. I took my family there and we loved it. The second thing I will say is that sometimes when you do something big, you're going to get people that just automatically don't like you because you're trying to do something big. They say, well, who is that Negro? Who the heck does he think he is, trying to go out here and raise millions of dollars? And they pulled it off. They raised over $10 million for the Tulsa Fund, and so because there were so many people on the internet, most of whom did not invest any money in the Tulsa Fund. Remember, a lot of people will contribute by talking, but they don't contribute financially, right? So that those who contribute financially have a higher stake in the conversation than those who just sit on the sidelines and talk about things. Give me a yes if you understand what I'm saying. I'm not criticizing those people or saying they don't have a right to speak, but if you're not helping, then you're just talking, right? If you're not helping, you're just talking. And so one thing that I did look into was so as a result of all the chatter on the internet, they made it harder for this Black business to grow. The Tulsa Fund lost probably hundreds of thousands of dollars because they had to defend themselves against all the accusations that were being made. And so the FBI, I believe the FBI and the SEC did a full investigation of the Tulsa Fund. I don't know, did y'all know that? I don't know if y'all know that, but they did a full investigation. They went through thousands and thousands of pages of documents. They went through, and so if anything illegal was going on there, I assume they would have found it. Unless you want to add more to the conspiracy, like, oh, well, he owns the FBI or he owns the CIA or he owns the Securities and Exchange Commission. And they found no wrongdoing. They completely cleared this Black business of any wrongdoing. And again, if this were a white business, they wouldn't have gone through this much scrutiny, right? Because the people that will attack the Tulsa Fund will never say, well, they would never do this to a white-owned business. They haven't. There's no documentation of that, and I think it's a little bit of a problem. I think it's a little disingenuous. And so they spent a lot of money trying to defend themselves, right? So when it's just like when a black man is accused of breaking the law when he didn't do anything wrong. It can ruin your life. Just being accused can ruin everything, because now you're paying lawyers. Now I had a friend that was falsely accused of rape a long time ago. And the reason I know he was falsely accused is because it turned out that his accuser had falsely accused several other men. This was the pattern for her. And so anyway, but when they accused him, they took him to jail. That he had to drop out of school. So he lost all of his tuition money. He had to spend every penny in his bank account in order to defend himself in court. Then he had to go on his own and spend thousands more hiring a private investigator who was the person who found out that this woman had falsely accused several other men. So by the time it was done, he was ruined. So the stain of an accusation can ruin you. So again, I'm not sitting here saying that I know everything that's happened with every business of every person that I know. I'm not saying that at all. But what I can say is that when you have Black people that are 10 times more determined to go after Black businesses than they are non-Black businesses. Like, you don't go after the little chicken shop that the Indian guys set up in the hood. You don't go after all the hair salons that are set up, that are created by, say, Vietnamese, Asian people, whatever the case may be. You don't go after white-owned businesses like Popeye's Chicken that are selling refried diabetes and making billions, by the way, making billions of dollars doing this. But yet that Black guy who says, okay, let me build something a little bit better. It may not be perfect, but it's going to be something bigger and stronger than what we have. It's like, oh, that guy's the most terrible person in the world. And you got to understand, part of the reason that we're studying Dr. Claude Anderson's books is because there's a history of this. Did you guys know? Give me a yes or no if you knew this. Did you all know that the reason that no slave revolt ever succeeded was because another slave went and attacked the people that were trying to escape? Did you know that they literally attacked? That they were attacked not just by white folks. White folks kind of joined in later. They were attacked by other slaves, other Black people. So I'm trying to say that, I'm not here to say every Black business is perfect. That would be naive to say that. You guys know I have no problem criticizing things that don't make sense to me. But my Lord, I mean, just let the businesses grow. Sometimes they're going to make mistakes. They might do things, like somebody might create a mutual fund and it might not make money. There are thousands and thousands of white-owned mutual funds that don't make money. Did y'all know that? Did y'all know Kathy Wood at ARK Investing? I don't know how big her fund is. Let me look this up. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button while I look this up. And I'm sharing this, hopefully in the spirit of love. I know that people are going to just get mad no matter what, but I'm really talking to the people that have sense, the people that I'm not really talking to everybody. You can't talk to everybody. I'm talking to the people who get what I'm saying, who will at least hear this argument. But Kathy Wood, hit the thumbs up button while I do this. Let me see here. So Kathy Wood runs ARK Investing. Kathy Wood controls $60 billion in assets. $60 billion in assets. How many of you have heard of Kathy Wood? Give me a yes if you've heard of Kathy Wood. She's this white lady. I will put her on the screen. But Kathy Wood controls $60 billion. So if you take, let's say what Jay Morrison controls with the Tulsa Fund, let's say that's about 10 million, maybe give or take a couple, whatever it is, right? That means she controls, I want to say, let me see, what was 60? Let me just do the math real quick in my head. I can't, let me see. The number is so big, it's kind of almost unfathomable. She controls, if I'm doing the math right, she should control 6,000 times more capital than Jay Morrison does. Like, so it would take 6,000 Jay Morrisons to create one Kathy Wood. That's how massive that money is. Her net worth is probably over $1 billion. Do you know that Kathy Wood has had spells where she has lost 30-40% of her portfolio? Do you know this lady loses billions of dollars at a time? And people don't, run out and say, oh, she's a criminal because of that. They just say, oh, well, that's the way the ball bounces. In investing, you lose money sometimes. And what makes it harder for Black business owners, and a lot of you go through this in your own families, is that you don't get margin of error. You don't get the benefit of the doubt. You don't have people that say, they started their little business and it didn't work out, but maybe the next one will, because sometimes business doesn't work out. You don't get that margin of error. You get relatives who are like, why are you quitting that good job, boy? Why are you quitting that good job, starting that business, boy? What you doing, boy? You ain't supposed to be, you left that good job at the post office So then you start the business and you're scared to death. Like you're worried, like, dang, if I don't succeed, then I'm gonna have a whole bunch of people lined up in my house to tell me I told you so. All those people who never ever wanted to help you, but they're all lined up. Do you know what I'm talking about? They'll line up like crazy. The only time they'll call you is to say, I told you so, right? And so effectively, you're in an impossible position. We put Black business owners in the most impossible position because we put them in a space where they can't fail, that they can't fail like white people. They can't be mediocre like white people. White people have the right to be mediocre, and their family members don't say, oh, you stole my money, Negro, because you didn't come back and flip my $100 into 300 in 2 weeks, right? And I think that that's fundamentally unfair. And what that does is that creates what I refer to as bad economic soil in the Black community. Bad economic soil. This is a term that I came up with. You're not going to find this in any textbook, but I was trying to figure out, why do Black people not start businesses at the same rate as white people? Why do they not start businesses? And I figured out it's because a lot of people are what they call risk averse. They are afraid of taking chances. Why are you afraid of taking chances? Well, trauma plays a big part in that. When there's risk, there's the upside that gets you excited. Then there's the downside that scares you. Right? We tend to, because of our trauma, we focus on the downside more than the upside, right? So that fear causes you to only see what can go wrong as opposed to what can go well. And then what's even worse is you're surrounded by other traumatized people who are only focusing on the downside. I'll give you an example. I had this woman I dated almost a decade ago, and I had this opportunity to take a cruise. I was going to give a speech on a cruise ship, and we're going to go to Eastern Europe. So we're going to go to all these places Black people don't usually go. I'd never been there, like Poland and Russia and stuff like that. And so I liked the lady, and I said, hey, I'm going on this cruise. They're giving me 2 tickets. Would you like to go? And she said, yeah, absolutely. So she was a real smart woman, very adventurous, and she was really excited to go. So we got on this cruise ship, or we were going to go on this cruise, right? So she calls her relatives, like who lived in the South, and was telling them, hey, I'm going on this cruise with my boyfriend, and we're going to go to, Eastern Europe and Poland and Switzerland and wherever. I forgot what those places were that we saw. Maybe it was Sweden or Finland. It's like all these places I'd never thought about going. And everybody that she told in her family was like, oh my gosh, girl, I'm so scared. I was scared for you. I was praying for you, girl. Oh my God. Oh, are you going to be okay? And we were laughing because we were like, what is there to be afraid of? Like, we're going on a nice cruise on a luxury ship in Eastern Europe. This is awesome. This is a chance of a lifetime. This is going to be fun. And her family did not see it that way. They only saw the fear. So what happens is with a lot of Black entrepreneurs, and you probably have dealt with this. Give me a yes in the chat if you dealt with this in your own family. You have a lot of fear around you. And one of the things about forming business is that forming a business is like starting a relationship. Because that's why I've been telling you guys, relationships and money are connected. So formulating business activity is a lot like sleeping with somebody. It's a lot like having a relationship. You're having an entanglement with other people. People who live in fear are afraid to entangle with others. Have you ever seen somebody who's so traumatized and afraid that they're afraid to have a relationship? They won't even go on a date because they were so traumatized by their previous relationship, or maybe they just have these issues they never resolved, right? So they're scared. And then the minute they see one little thing go wrong, they get triggered and they run, ah, she's a track star, right? Right? You know that song, right? We make songs about it, right? Well, the same thing happens when it comes to business. If people are scared, they won't do business with each other because the Black consumer is sitting there looking at the Black business owner like, man, I'm scared that Negro gonna rob me. He gonna take my money. We'll trust the white folks more than we trust other Black people, right? That's conditioned from slavery, right? Well, I do. Is that product any good? I mean, he's a Black man will show up, same credentials, same everything as the white guy, selling a similar product for even a better price, and you'll be like, I don't know, that might not be no good. But you go down and you buy from the white guy, and you assume that there's quality, right? You don't ask those same questions. You're not trying to grill them and give them the third degree over your $10, right? And that's a conditioning thing. That's something I had to work through because all of us have it. All of us have it. And I just started realizing, like, boy, stop that. Stop asking. Don't you dare ask the Black business owner a question you would not ask a white man. If I would not ask a white man that same question, I'm not going to ask the black man that question. So when I see black-owned businesses, I went to one of my friends' events. This family, Victory Boyd and her family, they have a great. The group's called Infinity Song, and they're beautiful singers, and they had this great event in Chicago. I went to the merch table and I bought a bunch of stuff. I just started piling stuff up because I was like, I want to support them. I want to make sure that they feel good about the fact that they have this event. I know that they're doing this independent. I'm going to make it rain up in this mug and I'm going to go hard. Right. And my wife was like, she was like, well, did you look at the price? Like, did you see like that, how much did that hoodie cost, or whatever? And I was like, I don't care. I do not care, because I want this black business owner to succeed. And because I've got the ability to do that. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, not everybody can. I admit I have more money than most people. So let's not assume everybody can do the same thing. But it's like, in my view, I said, even if I find out that the merchandise isn't as great as what I could have got somewhere else, I'm supporting black businesses for reasons that go far greater than just getting a cheap pair of socks or buying a discount pair of shoes or getting an outfit that I really need. I don't even know if I'm ever going to wear any of the merch. I just wanted to support, right? And so the same thing happened when Jay Morrison started the Tulsa Fund. When he started the Tulsa Fund, I saw him and he was talking about it and promoting it. And I said, man, this is tough. Like, and I had talked to him when I was in Guyana. He called, that was when I first met him. And he broke down what he was trying to do. And I asked a lot of questions. I said, okay, he answered my questions really well. I'm really impressed by this. Because believe me, I mean, when you're in my position, you hear a whole lot of harebrained ideas that are not so well thought out. So I have a pretty high filter in terms of really seeing BS, when it's coming. And I said, man, this sounds really good. I was like, okay, well, all right, brother, well, good luck. I hope it works. And I saw him online. He's hustling. He's out there doing this thing. And the money and people are supporting it, right? And then I went to his page and I just put a little fire emoji, like, you go, good luck, man. I wanted to be supportive. And then I saw Nipsey Hussle before he died. Nipsey Hussle was on the page and he said, man, this is epic, bro. I'm going to put $10,000 in it right now. And that was actually even when my own economic consciousness was awakened. And I said, oh, that's right. I shouldn't just say that I like what he's doing. I should actually put some money where my mouth is. So right below Nipsey's comment, I said, I'm gonna put you count me in for 10,000 too. And I put the money into the Tulsa Fund, not because I was expecting a quick flip. I did not put the money in because I'm like, oh, this is gonna be our big break, Alicia. We're gonna make our money off this. I put it in because I said, man, this black man, this black family is doing something nobody else has ever done. I want to support that. I want to at least say that I support it. Right. Same reason I gave a little bit of money to Umar's school. I don't believe the school will ever be built. I'm sorry. I know some of y'all love him and I'm not saying you shouldn't, but I'm not convinced. It's been 10 years. It hasn't been built, but I did get, but it wasn't 10,000. It was like $25. So let's just be clear. But the point is that, I think it's okay to kind of give black business owners room to not be perfect, right? Give them room to really sometimes fail, to like fall on their face if it happens, because white business, I invest in a lot of black companies and a lot of white companies. A lot of white, I invest in companies like Disney and Walmart, and I own stock in probably 200-300 companies, mostly run by white people, and they mess up all the time. They do all kinds of stuff all the time. There was a company called Workhorse, and I put thousands of dollars in this company, Workhorse. They are now under some sort of major set of lawsuits because they allegedly didn't disclose all the information behind the stock price, and people were mad about that. And I'm mad about it. I don't like it, but I'm not going off the deep end, right? And I think that if that were a black-owned company, many of us would say, oh, this proves that they were just a bunch of crooks from the beginning. When the reality is that I think there has to be room for all the information to come out. Also, I think that there needs to be levels to how the criticism is processed, right? So if you are a person who is looking at a black business owner over there, you ain't never helped them do nothing. You ain't volunteered no time. You ain't volunteered no money. You haven't volunteered any resources at all to help them to be successful. But yet you're the first one in line when it comes to have something to say. I don't really hear you as much as I hear somebody who really says, look, I put my foot in this thing. I really put my money in this, and I really have a lot of questions. So If anybody ever wants to know, sometimes I talk to Jay Morrison. I think Jay's a smart guy. I did say to him, I said, I don't really know if you have to necessarily answer to anybody who has anything to say about what you're doing, because a lot of people ain't going to understand it. A lot of people are just going to hate you because you're succeeding, or maybe these people are just your enemies, and that's what's going to, enemies do what enemies do. But I said, but your investors, the people that put the money in there, I think you should answer. You should give complete, full disclosure. You should not do. I saw Umar do this, and I didn't like it. I don't talk about Umar much on this platform, but this is one thing I didn't like. He got real defensive when donors, big donors, were asking hard questions. And I think that if you have a project going on where you've got big investors or big customers or big donors, those are the people that you have to answer to. And truth is that you answer to those people differently from the way you answer to somebody on the outside. It's just like family. When I'm talking to my family and my wife and my kids about what's happening in my house, I'm going to talk to them in extreme detail. But that son of a bitch down the street, he has no opinion in my house ever. So I would almost say to you that those of you who get what I'm saying, and I know that what I'm saying, I don't even talk about stuff like this that often because I know what's going to happen. I already know that, you got the Negro naysayers who are going to just, interpret it however they want to interpret it. But really, I'm talking to the people that want to build a better future. And the people that want to build a better future, I need you to understand that there is typically a storm that occurs before you get to success. There is a lot of discomfort. There is pain and growth. There's a lot of volatility that will occur. And I don't doubt for one second that there's going to be volatility, particularly when you talk about things, big projects like the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. I don't know. I'll ask more because I'm an investor. I can ask those questions. But I can just say too, though, when I go down there and I see that beautiful Black house, and I see those Black people gathering in a building that's owned by Black people, that where we got all these Black historical figures on the walls and everything else. I see it as one of those things where even if the fund itself wasn't perfect, or even if it doesn't make as much money as people think, that Black house is going to be there for 150, 200 years. Like that Black house is going to be like Black history. Like it's going to, so if I go in there, even if I think that the foundation was a little shaky, it's almost like a child. If you have sometimes you have children that are born in the mud, and not to say Tulsa's in the mud. I'm not saying that at all, but let's say it was, right? Let's assume that. Let's pretend like it was. Sometimes you have children that are born in the worst of conditions. Like baby should never even got there. Mom and daddy should never got together. It was a mess, right? Maybe daddy was a pimp, mama was a hooker, but that child maybe grows up and does something amazing. And you say, gosh, it was crazy how this child was born. They were born in the middle of chaos, but look at what they accomplished in their life. And I understand that because I was born in a very messy situation. My daddy was not there when I was born. Nobody was there when I was born. My mama was 16, had no business having sex at 16 years old, right? Gives birth to me. And I asked my mom, I said, who else was in the hospital when I was born? She said it was me, you, and the doctor. That's it. Nobody else is there. And so she's in the hospital for a day. They told her she had to go. She goes outside and she's got this little baby Boyce in her arms, and they're waiting on the corner for somebody to give them a ride home. That's how I came into the world. That's messy as hell. That's not Planned Parenthood, the good Planned Parenthood. When I'm talking about Planned Parenthood, I'm talking about planning your kids. That's not the epitome of efficiently Planned Parenthood. But my God, I mean, when I think about my life and the things I had the chance to do, and the way I was able to, to help some people, it's like, okay, it was a little bit rough, but man, it was so worth it, right? So I think with the Tulsa Fund and the Black House, I encourage anybody who's really interested to go take a look. I mean, they've got a beautiful facility down there, and they're really set up for all kinds of stuff. Like we're going to host events there, we're going to shoot movies there, and it's just a place where I'm like, okay, I'm glad it exists. It's better than just having. You have a lot of people that talk. And they think that because they're talking and because maybe they have 100,000, 50,000 subscribers on their YouTube channel, that they're really making a difference, that they're really a leader. And a leader, Neely Fuller says, first of all, a leader should have the ability to provide something for their people and protect their people or elevate their people in some meaningful way. But then also a leader, to me, has to be a person that can manifest and create something that's real, that can actually change the lives of the people that believe in that person. And so I just want to make sure you know the difference between people that are really doing things and people that are just kind of, talking good, right? That are kind of like maybe rappers are. Like rappers can rap, but rappers can't necessarily build. So let me see here. Let's see here. So somebody says, Doc, brother, I respect. Thank you for your donation, Todd Divine. He says, Doc, brother, I respect you to the fullest, but please don't think we stupid for questioning Mr. Morrison. We are investing smart and not dumb. I do agree. I think you have. Here's what I think. Here's if you want my conclusion on the Tulsa Fund and Jay Morrison. And I've known Jay for about 4 years now, something like that. And I like him. I do. I like the family. I like his wife Ernestine. I think they're cool people. But at the same time, I don't know that fund. I don't work in their business. So if there's an irregularity there, then that can happen, right? Those things can occur. But here's what I will say on that. First of all, if you don't trust it, you don't like it, then don't invest in it, period, right? Like there's no mandate saying you have to participate, right? But if you don't participate, just know that I think it should be pay to play. If you didn't support, then your voice does not matter as much as the people who put their money where their mouth is, right? So I would almost encourage you, like if you put money in, then they have investor shareholder meetings where they break down where the money's going and what's going on. Go to those meetings. And if you're not invited to those meetings, ask yourself why you're not invited to those meetings. If I have a problem with the way McDonald's is doing business, and I'm not a customer of McDonald's and I'm not a shareholder in McDonald's, they're not going to weigh my opinion as much as somebody who actually helps them pay the bills, who actually owns stock in that company. The second thing I will say is this. You can't ignore evidence as well. I mean, sure, there's a lot of chatter on the internet. There's a lot of people that there's a whole industry of people. This is what happens when you get more public. There is literally a whole industry of people who fund their entire YouTube channel by making things up about me, right? They I don't watch any videos about me. So if you make those videos, just know they're not being watched. But I do see it. I'll scroll through and I'll be like, wow, he spent a whole hour and a half talking about something he knows nothing about. Like these people have never met me. They don't know anything about my personal life. They don't talk to my wife because my wife don't talk to them. I know my family doesn't connect with any of these people. But the internet has a low barrier of entry when it comes to fact over fiction. So you're allowed to say pretty much whatever you want. And if it sounds good, then you'll get viewership, which helps people make money. So, you need that $3,000, $5,000 a month you're making on your YouTube channel. People are desperate. They'll say whatever they need to say in order to get views, right? So what I'm really appealing to are those people that know the difference between false entertainment versus real factual transformative stuff, right? Some of us are trying to do grown-up stuff and really get things done. Some people, are just kind of providing entertainment, but it comes with the territory. I'm sure Jay-Z and me and Alicia laughed because I said, can you imagine? I said, for all the stuff people make up about our relationship, like literally these people know nothing about. I mean, it was utterly fascinating. I said, imagine what Jay-Z and Beyonce go through. How many people swear by rumors about their relationship, don't even know Jay-Z, never met Beyonce, have no facts to back up anything that they're saying. They just keep on living their lives. Will Smith and Jada, I'm sure they go through the same thing, probably 10 times greater than anything Alicia and I will ever go through. So that's there and that's fine. And you can even enjoy it if that's what you want to do. But I encourage you also to have the other grown-up side of you where you say, okay, we're also in this war. We're in this struggle as Black people. We're in this battle for our children's souls. You got people like Lizzo and Lil Nas X that are sexualizing your kids and teaching them to grow up to be crazy hoes and whatever, right? And white people are funding this. They're putting billions of dollars behind these ideas because they want to keep you behind, right? There's a reason why Black wealth has not improved in the last 50 years. There's a reason why Black education has not improved in the last 50 years. There's a reason why the Black family structure hasn't strengthened itself in the last 50 years. I wrote this all on my Instagram. My Instagram is the real Boyce Watkins. Feel free if you want to join that conversation. But there's a reason for that. And a lot of it is because they have taken a segment of our community and turned them into children. They've turned them into white supremacists. They've turned them into Klansmen almost, where they are, their thinking has become so toxic that they don't even expect the Black community to make progress. And anytime they see progress, it's like trying to give vegetables to a drug addict, or if somebody's addicted to heroin, they're not going to respond well when you feed them broccoli. right? They're just not. Their body will probably shut down and they'll die because they're like, I need poison in order for me to even exist, right? So a lot of our people are addicted to poisonous thinking, and that's why I don't make any illusion about this idea that we're here to save everybody. We can't save everybody. You ain't gonna save everybody because that the negatory, the energy behind negatory is very, very strong, and that energy, as strong as your energy is, which I encourage you to match that energy as much as you can, but as strong as your energy is, that other the negatory energy, it's very well funded, it's very well supported, it's very, very popular. You will get much more peer support with negatory than you will with intelligence. So so sometimes you can battle, sometimes you get in there and you slug it out, like you fight the negatory, right? But sometimes you got to just get out of the room so you can refresh your battery and focus on what you need to do. So every now and then, just to give you guys a sense of my personal pattern, sometimes I'll get in there and I'll fight. My wife hates it, but I'll get in there and I'll be like, okay, let's slug it out because I ain't scared of y'all suckers, right? But then it's like there's a point where it's like, okay, boys, when you're putting all that energy into that, you're actually empowering that nonsense. And it's time for you to go out here and go over and become a grown-up again, right? So that's literally what I see. And that's me just being as honest with you as I possibly can be. And I'm not criticizing anybody who has questions about things, but I want you to kind of, again, assuming that your intentions are noble, right? If your goal is just to destroy Jay Morrison or whatever, I don't know what to do with that. I mean, that's just going to be what it's going to be. But if your goal is to really do the right thing, then I want to encourage you, do the right thing. If you don't like a black business, don't support it. There's plenty of black businesses I see where I'm like, I'm not putting any money into that because that's crazy. That don't even make no damn sense to me. No, that school ain't never gonna get built, whatever, right? Like there's, stuff I laugh about it, but I don't see it as like the biggest problem in Black America. I think that again, if you look at just in financial terms, if you compare, the few $1,000s that some Black business owner might be taking by overcharging for socks and sneakers, and compare that to the billions of dollars that are being taken by big corporations that are not Black. There's no comparison. There really is no comparison. So anyway, let me give you guys some quick updates as far as the stock market goes. I know I titled this video "Stock Market Thoughts," but I kind of decided to go into some other things because some other things were on my mind. But let me kind of because it's all connected. By the way, this is all connected. All these things impact Black economics. Like all these, whenever you guys see me talking about culture, that's probably the finance professor in me coming out, because people don't understand how much culture impacts your economic outcomes. If you go to look at an Indian family or an Asian family that builds wealth, you'll see wealth in everything that they do. You look at their culture, you'll notice their culture is different from the culture of broke ass families. Seriously, like I know a Vietnamese family that's got money, and they were dirt poor a generation ago. And what the and a 12-year-old Vietnamese girl explained her family's economic culture to me. How many of y'all got 12-year-olds, or how many times do you see a 12-year-old Black kid that can explain the economic culture of their family? Now, B1 kids can do it because y'all are different. You're raising your kids different. But do you see that in our community? No, we got 12-year-olds that can explain to you how to throw a football. They can show you how to dribble basketball like nobody else. They can show you, they can tell you what Cardi B said in her last song. But this 12-year-old Vietnamese girl explained to me how when the family members come over and they'll get set up, and then they'll loan money to the next family member and fund their ability to come to the United States. And so the exchange is that when you come over, in her particular family, she said, when you come over, you work for the relative that funded you to come over there. And if you don't do your job, then they send you back. Right, you get banished from the group if you don't do what you're supposed to do. So that you work for them, and then they loan you the capital to start your own business, and then you pay them back, and then you fund somebody else. So literally, it's like a stepladder to economic power that is built on a family culture. Right, you follow me? And it's an entrepreneurial thing. It's not like, I'm going to go get a job at Ford. I'm going to try to see if my boss will put you on at Ford too. That's the talk I heard growing up. And so this stuff fascinates me. And I'm like, this is amazing, not just because the model works. It's simple, but it works. But it amazed me that a 12-year-old was explaining this to me. That means that at an early age, they put this in the standard culture of a lot of their kids, you know. So you got to think about your culture. So when I'm talking about culture, like some people don't understand when I'm talking about Lil Nas X and you know, and his butt twerking in prison and all that, you're establishing a culture. You basically, you first of all, you're disrespecting even gay black men because you're saying that they're just a bunch of sexually undisciplined lunatics that enjoy twerking in prison, right? It's against the backdrop of all these young black boys dying of AIDS in cities like Atlanta. I mean, that's literally the thing that you're doing. And pay attention now. Why do you see these images? These images are being pushed to children because there's money behind this. White people are funding this, right? They're not funding stuff like what we're doing. They're funding stuff like that, right? And they're positioning it as some sort of liberation or like freedom or whatever, right? And then you throw in, you know, things like Lizzo saying, "Oh, I'm a big fat whore and I'm proud of it." Like that's pretty much her whole message. I watched her video and I was like, okay, so you're bragging about the fact that you're really fat and you fucked everybody. Okay, good for you. Congratulations. Sex is a wonderful thing. But then you're processing that and you're like, that's so interesting that, you know, that we're promoting the sexualization of these kids and we're promoting obesity. Well, those two things kill a lot of black people. Like a lot of black people died that way. A lot of, you know, when during the pandemic, when they were telling you were victims, a lot of people that were dying were obese, right? And there's no public service announcement. The people that claim to care about you that are saying, "Oh, we care about you. We want you to get the shot," right? Those same people have never said, "Well, we care about you. We want you to eat healthy. We care about you. We're not going to promote an obese lifestyle because obesity kills more black people than even gang related violence does, right? Or than cops ever could. The cops can never. There are probably more black people that die from obesity and preventable diseases every year than there are the number of black people shot by cops in the last 50 years, right? And so it just doesn't make sense. But when you tie again culture, tie that back to the fact that black people have not made progress educationally, economically, or in terms of family structure in the last 50 years, it all makes sense because you've been consistently promoted garbage promoted to you. This is also a type of economic warfare because there's an economic engine behind this, right? There's big corporations, Apple and Spotify, that are putting billions of dollars into promoting these things that are destroying your people and making your people look really, really bad. And then when you talk about retaliating against this, that's where the things like building Black-owned media are extremely important, right? Our weapon to respond to that is building platforms where we can have a counter message so that people don't think that this is the way to live, right? Because what happens to a lot of your children, the reason your children don't grow up and become scientists and wealth builders and all the things the community needs, a lot of times is because they start feeling like the outcast. How many of you have seen this? They start feeling like the outcast when they're not going along with the nonsense, right? I heard a 14-year-old black girl who makes straight A's in school say, "Dang, I wish my grades weren't so good because there's no black kids in the advanced classes with me." So this little girl was openly expressing the fact that she was thinking about tanking her grades deliberately so she could fit in and be in the lower level classes with more black kids. Right? This is real. Like this is really happening. This is really the dumbing down of your culture, and it's costing you trillions of dollars a year because your kids are not growing into the people that they are supposed to become. They're being bastardized, right? So this is also economics ties to this, because if you gave someone like me $1 billion a year, I could go and do little things like build schools for black children that educate us at the highest levels economically. I have a PhD, so I can do this. And I have a lot of smart friends where we can have our kids educated at a super high level economically before they're 10 years old. Like we can have as many systems in place as there are football and basketball camps. What do you think the great basketball and football players come from? They come from systems designed to scoop the kids up when they're young, to get them obsessed about football, to get them obsessed about basketball. That's how the NFL feeds talent into their ecosystem. So we can literally use their weapons against them, right? And where we literally create processes and systems that feed talent into our ecosystems that allow us to develop a stronger black community. Like, so all these things, I see this happening, and I really like explaining it to you so that you can understand that there's a method to the madness. That when you see Dr. Boyce talking about Lizzo, you know, I know what's going to happen. I already know it. I know these people better than they know themselves. I already know you're going to use a specific cover. The cover you're going to use is oh, here's a black man with toxic masculinity attacking a black woman. And that's used as cover to then allow them to promote black women, not the real women in the community, not the ones who hold the community up. I'm talking about these false informants, or whatever you want to call them, these traitors to some extent, promote them and get them out here doing all kinds of stuff. And your alleged cover is, anybody who says anything, we're gonna try to call him a sexist and label him, because it's easy to label a black man. It's easy to label a black man a sexist because they've been thinking that the black man is a predator for the last 300-400 years. So all this ties back. All this is connected. So do not think that when I'm talking about hip hop, that I'm not also talking about economics, because without the economics, there is no hip hop. Your favorite rapper, the reason you know about your favorite rappers is because somebody put $100 million into marketing your favorite rapper to you. You don't even know who your favorite rapper is. You really don't know who your favorite rapper is, because your favorite rapper is some dude in the hood that did some amazing music that did not get funded because he was not part of the white supremacist machine designed to destroy black children. That's your real favorite artist. But you never heard of him because nobody put him on the radio. They don't put people like that on the radio. So let me keep going. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, hit the thumbs up, share, subscribe button. Let me give you guys some quick stock market updates, actually, since I started off planning to talk about the stock market, but it's our platform, so I can talk about whatever I want. A few things happened that I paid attention to in as far as stock markets right now. One, Disney Plus had really good earnings. They actually have, I think, about 90 million subscribers less than Netflix now. I think they're at 160 million, which is pretty awesome. And their parks became profitable. That was a big move in stock prices. So Disney is going to be really ready for the reopening. Now, is the stock a good buy right now? I don't know, because it's already priced pretty high. But I think that there's some room to move, and the analysts are saying that Disney is a good investment. AMC is interesting. I was checking out AMC. And AMC's big problems is that they have tons of debt. And Adam Aron, who is the CEO of AMC, is kind of catering to the AMC apes and kind of telling them what they want to hear. But really, he's feeding them a bunch of BS, because deep down, what's going on is AMC has to make a ridiculous amount of money in order to be profitable. I think he said they have to make $5 billion this year to be profitable. That's not expected. And the reason it's not expected is because this Delta variant it is something worth taking seriously. Again, I just take the position that I don't judge you if you chose to get the shot or not. I just don't. That's just my view. But because I mean, if I'm supposedly protected from whatever you got, then I don't care if you protected yourself or not. Honestly, I care, but I don't care. Right. So I personally don't think it's worth arguing over whether you got the shot or didn't get the shot. I got relatives who did, relatives who didn't, and I love them all, and they're all invited to my house. And I think it's kind of silly to get to the point where we're dividing each other over this. But then again, you might disagree. But one thing that's true is that this variant, I've been paying very close attention to it. It is picking up. Southwest Airlines made an announcement that they're going to shut down they're getting a lot of flight cancellations because people are now afraid to travel because of the variant. And this actually links to the fact that consumer confidence is very low right now. They measure consumer confidence every month at the University of Michigan, the sentiment survey, and they found that the confidence of the consumer is dropping, meaning that consumers don't believe that they're going to be economically secure, which can hurt the economy, because it's sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy. They expect that they may lose their job, their money may not be right, so they're not going to go out and spend as much, which could actually impact corporate earnings in the next quarter. So you got to kind of watch out for that. Also, if you look around the world where the Delta variant has already kind of taken hold, particularly India, the UK, China, and Vietnam, they're closing docks out in China, actually, because of the Delta variant. And the Chinese don't really shut things down much over things like that. Like they're really they're pretty resilient about keeping stuff open. So when China kind of says, whoa, if this is too much, that means that there's something to pay attention to. And also it can impact supply chains, which could cause higher inflation. So supply chains basically meaning that a lot of the products that you buy in America are made in places like Vietnam and China, whatever. Well, those supply chain issues where they're shutting things down because of the Delta variant could cause inflationary pressure on the supply side, which basically means that companies would have to pay more to get their supplies. And also there's a labor issue that can pop up where companies can't get workers because people just don't want to come to work. So that consumer confidence issue is a big thing. When interest rates go up, you tend to have a higher movement in bank stocks, which you did see this week, and a drop in tech stocks, just for various reasons we don't have to go into right now. And also, though, is what's interesting as well, though, is like the conflicting evidence is that in a lot of COVID hotspots, restaurants are doing really well. So even though the pandemic is out there, the virus is out there, the variants are out there, a lot of people are still living their lives. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think we're going to get to the point where we just learn to live with it, because I don't think it's going to go away. The question is, how much will it be contained and controlled? And that's really a subject for political debate and whatnot. And I don't know what the outcome is, but I'm watching it closely. You know, I'm open-minded about all of this. I'm an extremist in certain ways. Like I'm a B1 extremist. Like I'm very extreme about believing that the solution for Black people is that we must focus on our economics and rebuild our families and educate ourselves. I believe that's where I'm an extremist. But when it comes to like Democrat, Republican stuff, I don't like being an extremist. So I hear the people, like my relatives that say that they went and got the shot. I hear them. I understand exactly why, and I don't blame them. I don't think that they're stupid. And then I hear my relatives who explain why they won't get the shot. I have doctors in my family who say they won't touch it. So I hear them too, right? And I think that's what it is. It's a tough situation, right? And I think all ideas should be heard. And I think you should make the decision that works best for your family. But as an economic phenomenon and potentially a health-related phenomenon, these variants are real. They are really out there. So whatever your solution is, just make sure you apply it really well so that it doesn't hurt you. Okay, guys. All right. So don't forget that on Tuesdays, we have stock market investing class. If you'd like to join the stock market investing group, you can go to theblackstockmarketprogram.com. THE, that's theblackstockmarketprogram.com. And also our Black Crypto Investing Club, we just started, and the special is over, but you can still join if you want to with a 14-day trial if you'd like. That's theblackcryptoclub.com, theblackcryptoclub.com. So we got a bunch of crypto experts that are going to meet with students once a month, and we're also going to have a crypto gathering at the All Black National Convention, which is going to be at the end of October. So the last weekend of October, the 29th through the 1st. Mark that on your calendar if you'd like to come to Orlando and hang out. A lot of the stuff that we do is going to be based on group building, group economics, group connectivity. So there's going to be things like fun things like speed dating or speed networking, where you can network with people you can do business with. But then we're also going to do specific things like have breakout sessions on different types of business movements, business decisions you want to make, whether you want to start a company or you want to invest in crypto or you want to buy a hotel. So we're doing a lot of that stuff too. So we're really taking your feedback and we're going to incorporate that into the convention. This is completely Black owned, no corporate sponsorship, no government sponsorship. It's going to cost us about $100,000, and we're putting that money up and we're going to make it happen. And we're doing it. We're getting it done. We're not just talking. We are making things happen, and we're succeeding at this. So feel free, if you want to get your hotel now, the tickets go on sale next week. The landing page are almost done with that. So the tickets will go on sale next week. If you want to get your hotel, you can get it at a big discount right now at abnchotel.com. That's abnchotel.com. It stands for All Black National Convention, abnchotel.com. What do I think about Jumia? I don't know. I haven't looked at Jumia in a while, Linda. I sold my Jumia, but I'll take a look and maybe talk about it a little bit, because I did make a lot of money from Jumia, but I walked away when the stock started acting a little bit weird. So, all right, guys, take care. Have a good day. Please hit that thumbs up button on your way out. And also, please subscribe and hit the notification bell